Hey everyone, welcome to this video, and today I'm going to show you how to build an MCP server that lets you package, manage and collaborate over large AIML projects in a seamless manner. So if you're an AIML engineer, make sure that you watch this video because this is going to make your life a lot easier. Today I'm going to introduce you to KitOps, which is a 100% open source packaging solution for AIML projects. So to understand it better, let's first understand the problem that we're trying to solve today. So a typical AIML project has a lot of different artifacts and they're scattered across different tools and services, right? So maybe we are developing our model in a Jupyter notebook, then we are using some sort of experiment tracker to track the different parameters of the model that we obtained during, experimentation stage. And then we also need to, use tools like DVC to separately version and track our data set. Similarly, we have Git to track the different versions of the code that we are building, right? And we also need something to track the documentation and the metadata, right? So these things are scattered. So let's say if something is working on your machine, so it may be using a certain version of your model, it might be using a certain version of the parameters that you're using, similarly for the data set, code, and the metadata. Now for someone else to reproduce it, right, they have to keep track of everything, right? From the specific versions of each of these artifacts. Now this becomes a major bottleneck when you're trying to collaborate on a large project, or if you want to, share your project with others and your teammates so that they can also, continue to work on it. So what if I tell you there's a unified solution to do all of this for you? And this is exactly what KitOps does. And it does this by creating a model kit, right? So you can think of a model kit as a snapshot of your project, right? That takes care of, tracking like what version of the model that you used, what is the version of the parameter it should be using. Similarly, like it can separately track and version your data set, code, and the documentation that is required to, reproduce the project that you had working at your end. Now to understand more, I think this is the right time to jump into the demo and actually understand how this model kit is built, how this can be shared and reproduced at someone else's end, and what makes it so powerful. So let's jump into the demo. So now I'm in my cursor ID and I'm working on an ML project wherein I have some data set, some documentation, a model that I still need to train, and the requirement.txt, which basically specify like what are the dependencies that are required to run this project, right? And this is our training script. So in this case, I'm working on a logistic regression model, but I've deliberately kept things simple for the sake of this demo, but you can easily replace it with any ML model or, the things that you're working with. So the principles would apply similarly to anything that you're working with as well, right? So let's train this model. Right? So once trained, I have this model available here. Now what I want to do is I want to package all of this thing so that I can put it in a central repository so that any of my teammates or anybody else who has access to that can reproduce my work on their end as well and seamlessly deploy it as well, right? So how do we do that? So the first step would be to, create a kit file for this project. And I have already integrated KitOps MCP server here, right? So first of all, we are going to create a kit file for it. So you just need to go to your agent chat, right? And we'll say that create a kit file for the project that is located here, right? And you also need to specify like this should be the name of my model kit, right? So once you give this command, the agent would call the MCP tool that we have built, right? As you can see, like it takes the working directory for which it needs to create the kit file, and it also need to, you also need to specify the name of the model kit that is going to be created, right? So it says that a kit file has been created. So let's take a look at that. All right, so this is a kit file. So a kit file is nothing but you can think of it as a YAML file that keeps track of like what are the different packages that we're using, where exactly is the code, relative to the base directory that we specified, the data set, the documentation, the model, the name of the model, and where exactly the model file is present and all, right? So you can think of it as, a recipe to create a model kit. So once you have this kit file ready, the next thing would be to create the model kit. Again, we'll be using the MCP server that we have created, right? So let's go to chat and say that I want to pack the project that is present here, right? And push it as a model kit to the remote registry, right? So now this model kit might sound a lot like a Docker image, right? That you're pushing to a container registry, but it is much more than that. And I'll show you in a bit like why I'm saying so, right? But having said that, so currently I'll be pushing it to Joju Hub, which is a central repository wherein you can, add and manage and collaborate over different model kits that you're creating. Once you run this command, it is going to package the entire thing that we have here in a single command, and it will be available in a centralized repository. And for that matter, like you can easily configure KitOps to use your own private Docker container registry as well, right? So it's fairly easy to do that as well. All right, so it says that, the project that is over here has been successfully packed and pushed as a model kit to the remote registry at Joju ML Akshay ML project's latest, right? So let's check this out. As you can see, we have the entire model kit or the entire project that is wrapped up as a model kit available here inside Joju Hub. So you can seamlessly deploy it now, right? Within a single command, you can, run a container and deploy it anywhere, right? And another thing is like you can also check like what are the contents or what all things are present here, right? Based on the model kit, like it again creates this view here to understand like what all is present in this project. And it also gives you a model card, right? So this is basically the documentation that we had here, right? So this would appear in the model card, right? So it gives instruction to someone else like how they can, work with this project once they have pulled everything on their local machine, right? So far, like it might sound a lot like, working with Docker images, but I'll tell you this is much more than that. So let's say if you want to use someone else's model kit, right? So had it been a Docker image, like you would have to like pull the entire image, which would contain their data, which would contain their model, which would contain the code and a bunch of other things as well, right? But what if you do not want all of it? What if you just want their code and their data set, right? So ModelKit provides you this functionality wherein you can filter out or you can selectively unpack exactly what you want and get it from a ModelKit to your local machine, right? So let's say if I want to work with the, get some model and the data set from a particular model kit, I can selectively do that. I can just pull the model, I can just pull the data set, right? I can easily do that. So let me show you that. So here's another project. Let's say my teammate has worked on it, right? And I want to use his code and his data set and train a new model over it, right? So let's do that and let's see how it can be done. So first we are going to do is like, we are going to inspect like what all is present in that model kit that has been created by my teammate. So I'll say that inspect the model kit with the certain tag. So I provided the name of the tag that we had here, right? So this is the tag. So let's run this tool. All right, so it gives me a detailed view into like what all is present in this model kit, like what are the models that are present, where exactly is the code that is present. So it basically gives me a view of the kit file that was used to, create this particular model kit, right? So now I do not care about like what exactly is the model that they trained and what is their documentation and a bunch of other things, right? I am just interested in their data set and the code that they use to train it, right? So let's try to, selectively unpack and pull only the things that we need, right? So again, we are going to use the MCP server for that as well. And we can put on the filter, so we can easily specify the filters, like what exactly do we need to unpack from that model kit. So let's do that. So in here I say, pull the model kit with the tag. So I specify the tag. And then I also say that, only unpack the code and data set, right? So it will create a local directory here once I run it, and it will only pull the data set and the code, nothing else. So I'll show you in a bit. Right, so it says that we have pulled it, and as you can see, we have everything here what we need. So we have the data set and we have the training script, right? So this is exactly what we needed, right? We did not care about anything else like the metadata or the model that they're already trained. So that is not there. So I hope you got a gist of what we're trying to do here, right? So it becomes so much easier to, collaborate over large projects and pull things from a remote repository, only the things that you need, instead of pulling in the entire image or the entire things that you might not need all of it, right? And I hope this kind of gives you an idea about how all of this work. And Joju Hub provides a really good interface to work with ModelKits and a lot of functionalities that are tailor-made for it. But having said that, I mean, you can use KitOps and you can push these ModelKits to any container registry, right? So I believe like this is something that every AML engineer would find useful, and it can save them a lot of efforts, and it becomes much easier to collaborate and reproduce someone else's work as well. I have also provided a detailed instruction on how you can, build this MCP server. So it has all the instruction on how you can, add this as a config file to your MCP config and connect it to either Cloud Desktop or Cursor ID. And here's all the code to, build this server as well, right? So I'll share this with you, and I highly recommend that you also check out Joju ML, right? So their work is open source. They also have an open source repository, right? So do check out their repository and star it as well. It's Apache 2, completely open source. All right, so with that, we have come to the end of this demo, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you in another video. Thank you so much for watching.